Hello students, welcome back to the video series of Python programming. I'm your instructor Shweta Yagnik, and today we are going to see the remaining topics of threading. So the topic that we are going to cover in today's session are first, creating threads by extending threads class, then passing a function, then by using a callable classes, then we are going to see thread synchronization, and lastly we'll see inter-thread communication. So without wasting much time, let's begin. In last session we have created a thread using the subclass from the thread class. So here today we are going to see using the same technique, but here we are going to override the init method as well. So first, from threading module import star, and similarly from time import star, because we want to have the sleep method, that's why. Now here I am going to define a class, my class, and this must be the subclass of thread. That's why the thread base class is mentioned over here. I'm going to define init and I'm going to override it, init method, and within that I'm having self argument and a name. Okay, this is the argument being passed over there. Now within that I need to call the super class init, so thread, then dunder method init, and within that I am going to pass self. Here I am not passing any other parameter, and here I need to initialize name to the name argument which I have got from this. Okay, so I have initialized my variable, class variable, along with this. So next I am going to define, or I am going to override run method self, and within that I need to have I in range 10. So this is the iteration which will get executed by the thread. Print, then here I will be printing the name of the thread, so self dot name, and along with that the number of iteration I want to print. And after each iteration I want my thread to go into sleep for 1 second. After that in main thread I am going to create the object t1 equal to my class, and within that I am going to pass the parameter of my class of the name of this class. So here I am going to write good morning, and 42, that is the second thread that I am going to create, good afternoon. I'm going to give a start, t1 dot start, and then t2 dot start. In between I can give sleep of, let's say, 0.5 seconds. Let's execute the code and see the behavior. Good morning 0, good afternoon. So this is thread 1's execution, threads 2's execution. Again thread 1 and thread 2, they are actually executing alternatively. So this is the behavior we have achieved using two threads, and init method is overridden where we are giving the name of the thread. So we'll see the second method of creating a thread, that is by callable classes. Okay, so here we are going to explore the thread class constructor which is accepting different arguments, and we are going to see the target argument. The target argument is callable object, so we can use it in order to create the thread. So here we are importing threading and time as per our earlier understanding. Then we are having our own class called my class. Here you can notice this class is not the base class of the thread class which was our earlier method. Okay, so you just make a note of it. Then we are having init method, and we are just initializing message and sleep time. So these are two parameters which are initialized. Then we are using a call which is a dunder method, and which will actually implement it as a run method. Okay, so as soon as I give a start, this method will be called, and from this method, instead of directly doing some work, I am calling to another function which will do the thread work. So here my function is print message, and all the parameters which are required in order to give some information to my threads, so that I can print the thread started, current thread, that means the thread which is invoking this method, and the name. We have seen last time how to use get name and set name, so that is what we are making use here. Then we are having a iteration of 10. Then we are printing the message which are sent from the main thread and the iteration number. Then we are going to get a sleep of the specified amount of time. So we see in the main thread what happens. We are creating thread 1 and thread 2. So here we are using the constructor of thread class, and in that I am giving the argument for target, which is the callable object, and within that I am just passing the my class and the two arguments. First is the name, first is the message, and second is the S time, that is the sleep time. So first, for the thread 1, the message is good morning, and for the thread 2, message is good afternoon, and sleep time is 3. So accordingly these parameters will get initialized, and the call method will be called as soon as I give t1 dot start. So for thread 1, it will call this method, and from that there will be a nested call to the print message which will do my thread work. So let us execute it and see the behavior. So here I am getting one message. I am getting exception because I have not converted my integer to string, and before that I need to convert it to my string because I is integer. So that is the reason why it is throwing exception. Okay. Yes, so it is now showing the execution. Main start, thread started, thread 12 and thread 13. So yes, here we are able to execute two threads, and we are giving this message and the time step. So now we'll see the third way of creating the thread. Here also we are going to make use of the target argument of the thread class. So these two modules are imported. Then this definition of the message which is the actually work of the thread, I have kept that definition same which we have used earlier. Okay, if you can remember this thing, I have not changed anything. So this is the thread work which I want my thread to get executed. But here in thread constructor, in target, I have just directly given the name of the method. So here the target contains the task to be invoked by run method. Okay, so this is the work which will get performed by my as a run method. Okay, so this is the argument which will contain good morning, and 2 the timestamp which will get conveyed over here to the method. And here I am creating the second thread which is also calling the method called print message with the argument good afternoon and 3. So I am giving start to the two threads, that means my thread will get invoked. Then I'll wait for T1 and T2 to get completed till they are terminated, and then I'll be printing all done by. So let us execute it. So the working is very much similar. The only difference is that in target, instead of calling the class object, instead of calling the class constructor which we have used earlier, here I am directly giving the name of the method. So I am directly giving the name of the method in order to create the thread. So see, it has created the thread and the execution is completed. And it has printed all done by. Now next topic is thread synchronization. So first of all, we'll understand why we require to have synchronization in thread. Suppose if some work is to be done by single thread only. Suppose we are doing some transaction in database. Okay, in that case, if one thread is inside that database and doing some work, and if the other thread enters, then there will be some mess. Okay, we do not want that one thread who is updating or doing some deduction in the money, and at the same time the other thread, it comes in the same database in order to read, because the value will be wrong. So we do not want such chaos in threading. That's why we'll be requiring thread synchronization, which will acquire some lock over the resource. So if the resource is occupied by one thread, another thread cannot enter within that particular resource. So we need to have actually mutual exclusion over some part of the code where we do not want parallelism. So in order to achieve the synchronization, we are using some functions. So here for synchronization, we are using the lock method, which will give the lock object, and using that lock object we can acquire and release the lock on the critical sections. So here I'm having my class, which is the subclass of the thread class. Then I'm using the init method in order to initialize the variables. So I'm calling this base class constructor and initializing the message. Then this is the run method which I'm overriding, and over there I'm using acquire method of the lock object in order to get the lock, so that following lines will get executed only by a single thread if that thread has acquired the lock. So it will execute this iterations, and in the iteration I am just passing the message so that I can come to know what is the name of the thread, and this is the message which I am trying to pass. Okay, and in between I am going for 1 second sleep. So after the completion of this critical section, this critical code, I want to release the thread. I want to release the lock because I want now parallelism. Even though there is no more code following, but in the long program, in the application, you may require to have a synchronization over the period of time, but then you want parallelism because you want to achieve the CPU, you want to improve your CPU utilization. So you want all the threads to work in parallel in rest of the case. So once we release, the threads can work in parallel. So now we have created 2 threads, and we have given the name accordingly. We have given the start so that run method will be called, and within run method the lock will be acquired, do the task and release the lock, and once T1 and T2 is completed, we can print this message. So let us execute the code. So thread 16 and message is passed. So now there is no overlapping between 16 and 17. These two are different threads. So once 16 is executed, it will complete its work, and then and only then once it releases, thread 17 can start working once the 16 has released the lock. So we have gone back to the sequential process, but this is the case only required when we want to achieve mutual exclusion. The last topic of our today's session is inter-thread communication. So when 2 threads wants to communicate with each other, they'll use this concept. Now in which kind of situation they want to communicate? Let's take for an example producer and consumer problem. So in producer and consumer, if consumer thread wakes up first and start consuming, if he wants to consume the resource, but the thing is that producer has yet not produced anything. So in such kind of thing, they need to know the state of each other, whether the resource is consumable or not. So after the production of some resources, producer needs to notify to the consumer that I have produced something, now you can start consuming. So such kind of communication is only possible if we use inter-thread communication. So for that we are having condition object, so that will help us with number of methods to have this inter-thread communication. So we are having acquire method, which will help us to get to acquire the lock, that is internal lock. Then we are having a release, so that will help us to release the lock that we have acquired. Then we will have the notify method. This method will notify the single thread which is waiting for something to occur. Like if the consumer is waiting to consume the resource, then producer must notify consumer once the producer has produced something for consumer. So that is why producer will notify the consumer. Next is wait. So here consumer will wait if there is no item to be consumed. So once the producer has produced something, it will notify, so the waiting consumer can wake up and start its work. So let us implement this sort of inter-thread communication practically. So this is the code which is implementing inter-thread communication. We are having a common buffer which will be used by producer as well as consumer. We are having condition object which will help us to use this inter-thread communication. The maximum iteration, maximum production can be of 10 items only. So this is the consumer class and it is the subclass of thread class. So it is overriding the run method. We are using over here global queue. Then we are having iteration for 10 numbers only. The condition object will acquire, okay, so we'll get the internal lock. Then if not buffer, if the buffer is not there, nothing in queue, okay, if the buffer is empty, then we'll be having this message. Then it will go into wait state, because consumer cannot consume until there is some item ready in the buffer. So then once it is not there, means once buffer is having something, we'll pop that item into item, this variable, and will print that particular popped item. Then we'll release the internal lock that is acquired. So here the main thing is that the consumer is waiting in the state when there is nothing available in the buffer. So this particular waiting thread needs to have a notification from the producer when producer has produced something. So let us understand the code for producer. So here we are having producer code, which is also subclass of thread. It is overriding this run method for 10 number of iterations. It is also acquiring the lock. Then it is appending the item into the buffer. Then it will print this message that what item is produced. Then it will notify the waiting consumer. Okay, so this will awake the consumer in order to start consuming, and it will release the lock and go for a sleep for 0.1 second. So we are having two threads over here. We are giving start, and we will wait for producer and consumer to get terminated, and then all done will be printed. So let's execute the code. So producer has produced item 0, consumed 0 item, then producer has produced item 1, consumer has consumed 1. So it is happening sequentially, okay, but here what producer has done, yes, it has got chance, it has got CPU, and it has produced 2 items together. So now third item is consumed, then producer has still produced 6 item and onwards. So whatever items are produced by the producer, consumer will consume it as soon as it gets the chance. So I hope you have understood what is inter-thread communication, and rest of the topics, like how the different ways are there in order to implement the thread, and what is the synchronization. So I hope these topics are useful to you in order to understand the threads, and see you soon in next session. Till then, happy learning.